welcome to the premiere of the Culinary Institute of America's Around the Kitchen Table with CIA alumni. I'm Steve Swafford, Advancement Officer of Alumni Relations and also alum of the Culinary Institute. The CIA created Around the Kitchen Table as a way for our food enthusiasts to be more engaged with some of our alumni, literally like you're gathering around a kitchen table. The Vale Fox Distillery has made it possible to bring this event to you free of charge and will be matching any donations made to the CIA's Financial Relief Scholarship prior and during to the event. This fund was established in response to the COVID-19 pandemic in an effort to continue to help students pursue their dreams of a culinary education. If you'd like to make a donation, you can do so by visiting www.ciachef.edu/give. The link will also be available in the chat to the right. You all are in for a treat this evening. Chef Maneet, a 2000 CIA grad, whom many of you know as the award-winning judge on the Food Network show Chopped, is with us from her home in Tennessee. If you're cooking along with Chef Maneet, now's the time to pull up your recipe. Don't forget to share your dish with us also on Instagram at CIA.foodies. Chef Maneet is joined today by mixologist Tom Lasher-Walker, representing the Vale Fox Distillery, who'll get us started with a cocktail. Tom?
How are you all doing? Can everyone see me? I hope they can. I feel like when I do these demonstrations, it's the "Can you see me?" question is generally one of two questions that has been seen itself on Vogue this year. Can you see me? And is 2020 over yet? Although I think that's a question that we won't be able to answer for at least a couple of months. So yeah, thank you for the introduction. My name is Tom Lasher-Walker. I am a bartender that has been working in bars in different parts of the world, currently in Miami, in London also, and Edinburgh. And I've been in the profession for, like I said, about 13 or 15 years. I currently live in Miami. We're working, I said that working loosely, out of my kitchen at 3128 Street, 3128 New York Street in Miami Coconut Grove. So if there's any, criminals out there who like to, pass on information with regards to who's living at home, just remember that if you do decide to send someone over to this beautiful location in Coconut Grove, not only will you be disturbing me as I'm making a drink, but you'll also be on camera. So here at Shadow Relax, so we're going to be making a delicious drink in conjunction with the Vale Fox Distillery and specifically Tom Vixen's Dry Gin, 1651. The drink that we have is going to be an extension of Chef Maneet's dish that you're going to see later on today over the next half hour. And basically what I want to talk about is, instead of just making you a drink and saying, hey, there you go, make this at home, I want to talk about the importance of why cocktails are an important part of culinary events. And what I mean by that is that when we go out for a burger and an IPA, or if we go out for a salad and a nice glass of wine, what we're doing is that we're drinking something that can sometimes take the edge off or complement what it is that we're eating. The one thing with cocktails and cocktail and food pairings is that cocktails actually get to be an extension of the dish that you are experiencing. Okay, so I guess the way that it works is that, as we all know, alcohol traps flavors. The higher the alcohol content, the more intense the flavors, which means that in this example, less is more. So we're going to make a drink called the Tomato Mint Fox Cocktail. Now, I challenge anyone to say that repeatedly and quickly after they've had several, and let me know how you pronounce the Fox part later on after a couple of drinks. I'm also going to be talking a little bit about techniques and how we can make drinks at home and in the bar environment. I'm assuming that we probably have quite a variety of people, from expert mixologists, culinary fans, to people who barely know how to make a gin and tonic at home, quite like myself. So I'm going to go through a step-by-step process of what it is that I'll be doing here. And hopefully it'll give you a bit more of an insight as to what and why it is that I'm doing. I feel like these Zoom conferences and these kind of how-to cocktail guides are all going well, but the biggest thing that we can provide is, I'm not going to say experts, I'm not an expert, just someone that's experienced, is context and perspective, because I feel like that's one of the most important currencies that we can use when we try and convey what it is that we're doing when we're making drinks and cocktails at home. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my shaker Now I'm going to use what's called a tin on tin. Working in busy, fast-paced bars, I generally use a tin, or at least a vessel that's bigger than the drink that I'm making, because what it means is that when I seal the tin and I put the drink inside, I actually have a lot of air and room for ice, so I get the drink nice and chilled. Some of you may be familiar with one of these shakers, which are more common in hotel kind of bars, although not necessarily. I believe the most common one is what we call the Cobbler Shaker. These go by many different names. You can spend upwards of $500, $7,500 on these guys, or you can get them maybe at like a local liquor store or a grocery store for $10. They vary in quality, but you'll generally find that they're commonly a 3-piece, okay? And basically this does everything that you need. You don't necessarily need to use that. Even if you don't have any of these at home, if you don't have any of them, something like a simple mason jar will also work, because you can just put your drink in there and your ice, and then you can give it a little bit of a shake, and this does the job for you. Well, what I'm going to do, I'm going to get my 2 tins. Okay, I'm going to start off with this beautiful mint heirloom tomato juice, and this is basically something that Chef Maneet forwarded me the recipe for. We have covered heirloom tomatoes. I'm sorry the way that I pronounce tomatoes, it's not my fault, it's just where I'm from, which is clearly not from Miami. We also have a little bit of mint in there, some serrano peppers, a little bit of salt. We have some citrus in the form of some fresh lemon, a little bit of agave as well as a sweetener, and we've also got a little bit of water in there. Okay, you'll find that it's an interesting color. If you decide to make this cocktail at home, or you make it along with this demonstration, just bear in mind that heirloom tomatoes obviously differ in color. So if you get something that looks a little bit different from this, don't be alarmed. We're going to start off with this delicious concoction, 2 ounces. You'll see what I'm doing is that I'm using a measurer. I realize it's not that fancy or exciting, but I'm a huge believer in making sure that you measure everything that you use and put into a drink. I'm a big fan of consistency and accuracy, and I think it's one of the best ways that we can hold ourselves accountable for the quality of the drinks and the food that we prepare. So this is a jigger I found online. It's a 2.5-inch jigger. This is a 1.5 and a 1 ounce flip-sided with different increments inside. This is from Oxo, and it's quite easy to find on Amazon. So we've got our tin, got the 2 ounces inside. I'm going to use 1.5 ounces Tom Vixen dry gin. So a couple of interesting things about this gin. It's a big fat 48% alcohol. So we're talking about 96 proof. Okay, this is a little bit higher than most gins, but the good thing is that it means that the alcohol content is going to be able to trap all the amazing flavors that you want to include in your drinks. It's going to mingle well, but it's also powerful enough that it's going to cut through anything that you put with it. Okay, the botanicals that we have in here for this gin, your bog standard angelica root, which acts like a fixer. It brings everything together. We obviously have juniper in there as well. Coriander seeds, which is quite common. It also gives like a little bit of a citrus note. And rooibos tea. Now, the rooibos tea is one of the standout botanicals. It's a tiny bit left field, but it also gives a little bit of a different dimension to this guy. Okay, and the good thing is that there's only about 8 botanicals in this gin. Now, the reason why I'm a fan of this gin, more importantly, is why I'm a fan of the only being 8 botanicals, is that sometimes I feel like with gin, we can sometimes look at the amount of botanicals like an age statement, right? With whiskey or bourbon or scotch. Like the more there is, the better there is. Not necessarily. Sometimes you can have a gin that has 20, 30, 40 botanicals or more, and that's all fine and well. They're delicious. I've had some great gins that have a lot of botanicals, but you can't always pick out what's in there, okay? So it's, again, if you're making like a specific dish at home, Indian, Italian, Mexican, you generally don't want to load your dishes or your cuisine with about 25 different spices, because it's going to be difficult for you to pick out what flavors you put in there. And gin botanicals are no different. So we're going to do only 1.5 ounces. That's all that we need. That goes in there like that. And we're also going to use about 3/4 ounce of Saint Germain elderflower liqueur. This is going to give us a little bit of a nice floral element to the drink. It's going to give some of those kind of softer notes. The sweetness is going to interact pretty well with the earthiness within the mint and heirloom tomato water that we have going on. You see how I pronounce the word tomato there a little bit better. Okay, so we have everything going on. One of the recipes that I got through is a big fan of Saffron Bitters. I'm going to use orange bitters because it's all that I have at home, but feel free to be a little bit more experimental with the bitters that you want to put in there. Bitters, we only use like a tiny amount. It is almost like what I would call salt and pepper of the cocktail world. You just need a little bit to kind of help point the flavors up and then round off the edges as well. And what I'm going to do, once I have everything here, pretty much there, is I'm going to shake it. Now, when it comes to ice, there's a couple of things you can do. This is the freezer. This is ice from my freezer. It's just normal kind of average ice. It's fine. I'm going to shake with some block ice that I prepared earlier. Now, you don't necessarily need to do this, but just as an FYI, I generally find that block ice or bigger ice, however you want to call it, has a bigger effect on the cocktail, because what we do when we add ice to a drink is that we're actually doing two things at the same time, okay? And it's not too dissimilar to when you're cooking food and you're applying heat. You're actually doing two things. You're heating up the food, but you're releasing flavors. Now, the reason why it's important to bring this to everyone's attention is that trying to do two things that go in opposite ways is quite a difficult, it's a difficult thing to control. So what we want to do is make sure that we have as much control of what we're doing as possible. And for this, I'm going to use some block ice. And basically what it's going to do is that it's going to decrease the time that it takes for the drink to dilute. So I've got a little bit more time, and it means that it's going to be a little bit colder as well, okay? So with my hands, I'm just going to drop it in there like that, okay? But like I said, you can use other ice. And before I shake, you'll also notice that I have my vessel ready right here. I have what's called a Colin sphere in there. Now, this is something that I bought from my local liquor store. We were lucky enough to have a company called Mixologist start delivering ice to our local liquor store. So, you know, whiskey and gin and vodka and like other spirit fans and cocktail fans can get good quality ice. Again, you don't necessarily need to do that. You can actually buy Colin sphere molds, again, on Amazon. They're pretty easy to find, and you'll see what they look like straight away. But again, if you don't have that, it's not a big deal. You can use normal ice. One thing I would suggest is make sure that your glass is in the freezer. There's nothing, I think, that's better than making sure that, not too dissimilar to a beer or a glass of white wine, that the cocktail that you're drinking comes from a nice frosty cold glass, okay? Now, I'm gonna tap my shaker, gonna hit it on the top, and I'm gonna give this drink the secret ingredient that every drink needs. And it's a lot of love and it's a lot of attention, and it's a very cheesy shake, because if you're gonna shake a drink and you can't do it in a fun way, then what's the point of doing it, right? So you'll realize that even though I was shaking it quite hard, I didn't actually shake it for that long, and there's a reason for that. We're going to be topping up the drink with some Prosecco. Other ingredients that fall within this realm, things like champagne and cava, also work. You don't necessarily need anything too expensive, just something nice and sparkly and bubbly. So my reason is I don't want to add too much dilution, too much water, because the more water I add to the drink, the less that I have to be able to top it up with, in this instance, Prosecco. Okay, so again, the Prosecco's been sitting in the fridge for a while. Now you're thinking, why is he adding the Prosecco to the tin? I'm doing this because what's going to happen is that the drink's actually going to mix better. So instead of me pouring the drink into the glass and then having the Prosecco set on top, the Prosecco is going to be mixing with the drink, and you're going to have the bubbles and the effervescence come all the way through. Okay, so I'm going to take a strainer. You'll see that I'm using one of these. I'm using one of these because I have my double tin. You don't necessarily need one of these if you have the Cobbler Shaker at home. If you're using a jar, you might need to get a little bit creative and just kind of strain using the lid. But you know, if you want to use your fingers as well, no one's going to judge you. I'm going to pour it over the ice. Oh, look at that. You can't teach that. That's impossible to teach. Top it off, okay? And for the final act, we're going to have a slice of the tomato and some mint leaves on top. And this is our, let me see if I can get this right, tomato mint foxed cocktail. Okay, guys, so just a quick summary about what we talked about. Make sure that you have the ice on hand. If you have big block ice, you have the nice big ice cubes. That totally works, but if not, don't worry about it. Make sure that your glass stays in the freezer until the very last moment. And make sure that your ingredients are fresh. If you want to use things like lemon and lime, or you want to use things like simple syrup, make sure that your ingredients stay in the fridge and you make them not long before you make your drink. Things like citrus tend to lose acidity and quality over time. So the quicker and closer you make them to your cocktail making expedition, the better it is. I want to thank the Voxfell for giving me the opportunity to work with this beautiful juice. I'm jealous of all of you guys because you are going to be in for a right treat with Chef Maneet. Chef Maneet, are you there?
I am so here. Thank you for the drink, Tom.
My pleasure. Anytime. How is it tasting?
Oh my God, it is incredible. I mean, you say tomato, and I say tomato. It's tomato foxed. I've been foxed after I had this.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Like I said,
you know what? I think it needs a little bit more of the gin.
Yeah, I want to make sure that everyone is responsible, but I am interested in seeing how we're pronouncing that as the evening goes on once we've had a couple of these in our system.
This is amazing. Thank you so much, Tom. I am so ready to start cooking. Oh my God, that drink was so amazing. And when I literally tasted the Whale Fox Distillery's gin for the first time, it took me back to India. Sunday afternoons, Dad would be making a gin and tonic, and Mom would be making these deep fried fritters. And one of my favorites used to be this eggplant fritter, this Began bhaja, which actually found its way in my new cookbook chart. And this is what we will be making. So this is absolutely, it's delicious. It's so addictive. It's got a little bit of spice, and actually it's really fairly easy to make. So let's get started. What I will do is, along with this fritter, eggplant fritter, we will be making a chutney. A chutney is a sauce. Chutney is almost, it's like a salsa. So it can be cooked, it can be uncooked. This is going to be a cooked chutney, and it's so versatile. You can make it with, serve it with anything, and it's a tomato chutney. And then we'll be making a mango slaw, and then we'll put everything together. And I'm hoping that all of you who are cooking with me, if you have any questions, type the questions in. And as we go along, I know that there are a couple of people who will be hopping in and asking me a couple of questions, and we'll have a conversation. Sounds great? Fantastic. Okay, so let's start off with the chutney first, because the chutney is going to take a little bit of time to cook. For the chutney, we're going to be starting off with a 5-spice blend, which is called panch puran. Now, it's called panch puran because translated from Hindi, it means 5 different flavor profiles that make a whole. So the fennel gives it the sweetness, the cumin gives it the smokiness, the fenugreek gives it the bitterness, the onion gives it the sulfuric quality to it, and the mustard gives it the sharpness. So these are the 5 spices that are used. You can make this yourself by doing equal parts of all of these spices, or you can actually get this at any of the Indian stores. The other ingredients we'll need is some brown sugar, some tomatoes, and that's how the drink was inspired. We'll have some distilled white vinegar, some salt, some red chili, and that's it. It's as simple as that. So let's go ahead and start making this chutney. Okay, now guys, before we get started, I am just geeking out on my new Heston set that I got. This is a copper bond set. It is any chef's dream come true. We chefs get very geeky about knives and kitchenware. So this is what I am absolutely enjoying so much. Okay, so what we'll do is we're going to get started with some oil. And in the oil, I'm going to be putting the panch puran spice. Now, one of the most important things when using spices is heat. You need to make sure that you are adding enough heat to the spices so that the spices release their true potential. So what I'm going to do right over here is literally I'm waiting for the spices to start dancing, because when the spices are dancing, that's when they are releasing their true potential and flavor.
I love that, Maneet. That's what I always look for. I always think of you when I think about putting spices in the hot oil, is your dance.
That is my dance. Absolutely. So right over here, you can, cooking spices is such a sensory experience. It's not only the smell and the sight, but also the sound. It's like music to my ears. So right over here, can you see it? The spices are dancing. Then I'm going to grab my tomato and tomato paste. And this chutney is so simple. You literally, once all the spices are dancing, you put in all the ingredients, cover it, and let it cook on a low flame for around 10 to 15 minutes. And voila, your chutney is done. Okay, ready?
Maneet, what type of oil are you using in there for your spices?
I'm just using a neutral oil. It is a vegetable oil. I would suggest for making chutneys not to use any flavored oils, because they will fight with all the flavors of the spices.
Great, thanks.
Thank you. Okay, now I'm going to add the tomato puree to this. Or as Tom said, tomato. Going to put some salt. Going to put some red chili powder right over here. If you want it spicy, you can add a lot of chili powder. If you want it medium, a little bit. If you want it mild, you can skip the chili powder. This over here is white distilled vinegar. I prefer white distilled vinegar, again, for the same reason that I prefer just a neutral oil, because I don't want the flavors to fight among themselves. And this is brown sugar. Now, traditionally in India, we would use gur, which is almost like the Mexican palencillo that we get over here. But this is it. Everything for your chutney is in there. It's ready to go. I'm going to cover it.
Light or dark brown sugar?
This is light brown sugar, but you can use dark brown sugar also. And if you can get the Mexican palencillo, that has a little bit of the raw flavor to it, and that works so well too.
Thanks.
Okay. Our chutney is done. As simple as that. Now what we are going to do is we will start working on the slaw. So whenever I'm making a dish, I always want it to be balanced very, very well. So I do this mango slaw. Now, as a kid, we had 2 mango trees in our backyard, and I was strictly forbidden to climb those mango trees. But you know what? Sorry, Mom and Dad, I did spend a lot of my time on the mango tree. So this is one of my favorite fruits. And not only do I use it in dessert applications, I also use it in savory applications. So very simple. All I'm doing is I'm going to go ahead and peel the mango and add some peppers to it. I have some red peppers. I'll add some cilantro, some lime, some ginger, and some curry leaves. So right over here, it is really, really simple. And guys, if you have questions, please.
Yeah, Maneet, while you're doing that, we've got one of our participants that would like to ask a question that we're going to bring up.
I would love that.
Let's see, we're bringing them up here. Kate in Des Moines, you want to ask your question?
Sure. So I'm new to this type of cooking, and I'm wondering what you would consider the basic ingredients that one should keep in their pantry or the refrigerator to just be able to make some of these dishes and not have to run off to the grocery store to grab ingredients each time.
Kate, that's a fantastic question. People always ask me what is, the Indian food starter kit. So this right over here is a starter kit. This is called a spice box. And it's really interesting in India. Different regions in India have different spices because Indian cooking is very regional, right? But to me, I always say if you have turmeric, if you have cumin, and you have coriander with maybe garam masala, you can cook Indian food. The other thing that you can keep in the refrigerator is simple ginger and garlic. Because if you use, you just take equal parts of fresh ginger and garlic and go ahead and make a paste in a mortar and a pestle, and then you can use that to marinate anything. Like we have steaks at our restaurant, which we marinate with ginger garlic paste, salt, pepper. And my mouth is watering while I'm talking to you about this. It is amazing. So if you just have these, you have a really good starter kit, and you can start off with this. And then as you start getting familiar with this, I know that you would love going to the grocery store and getting more ingredients.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kate. Awesome. Okay, so right over here, I have the mango. Now, mangoes are always slightly tricky to cut. So what I do is I cut it from the narrow side and I make an anchor after peeling it, and then just these really thin slices till the time it touches the stone. Really simple. And the thing is, I'm using mango, but over here, I always say that whenever I am, whenever I teach people cooking, I say that just follow the recipe once, but after that, put your own signature on it. And that's what makes cooking so much fun. The fact that you can go ahead and put your own signature, use your favorite ingredients, use your favorite fruits. I think that's what makes cooking so much fun. So all I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and julienne these, like make it into like thin matchstick pieces. Right over here. I've also gone ahead and made sure that with the chutney, I reduce the temperature so that it is not boiling and it's gently simmering right now. Why don't we just take a look at it? Let's do this. Can you hear it? Just that bubble? So happy, so happy. Food, sounds, and just it's like one of the best experiences, sensory experiences.
I mean, right. Bring up another, while you're slicing the mango there, let's bring up another one of our participants for a question.
I would love that.
Awesome. We'll bring him up here. We've got Kevin.
Can you hear me?
Oh, there we go.
Yes,
Kevin.
now we can, Kevin. Hi.
Thanks for doing this. This is fun. I'm getting nervous because I looked ahead in the recipe and I saw that you're requiring rice flour. Is that like a guideline, or why do we choose different flours?
So with rice flour, the reason why I like rice flour is because it makes the fritter a lot more crunchier. And the interesting part is that in a traditional recipe, a rice flour is used because in India, rice flour is a lot more easily accessible than all-purpose flour, right? All-purpose flour is not very extensively used. So this is a very traditional recipe, but if you want, you can absolutely use all-purpose flour, and that works just as well.
Well, that's good.
Awesome. Are you cooking along?
I am. I'm falling behind, but I'm going to catch up.
Awesome. Fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you.
So I have the mangoes are in. Now I'm going to add some of the peppers, not a lot. Now, when you are using peppers, just go ahead and remove this white, almost silver skin from the pepper. Just be very, very careful. That has a little bit of a bitter taste to it, so you don't want that.
I mean, we had a guest that's asked a question also that wanted to know, how do you store your saffron?
How do I store my saffron? In a vault. I'm just kidding. Saffron, as you know, is one of the most expensive spices. What I do is I put it in a really tight, airtight container. It's really small. And then I put it in the refrigerator in a Ziploc. The flavor of saffron is so, it's so beautiful and it's amazing, and a little can go a long way, but you do need to store your spices, especially saffron, properly. So airtight container in the refrigerator in a Ziploc. Okay, so right over here, we've got the peppers. Then I'll put some cilantro in it. Right over here. Now, with cilantro, whenever I'm using cilantro, I always keep the stems on. The reason I do that is because I think that, the stems have this amazing amount of flavor. So I think that by taking out the stems, we are missing out on all the beautiful flavors of the cilantro. So I'll just go ahead and chop this up.
Okay, we'll do another question while you're chopping the cilantro there.
Can you hear me now?
Yes. Hi, Savitri. How are you doing?
Good, good. How are you?
Fantastic.
My husband is in the background helping us cook while I'm watching you.
You are the really smart person over here. Hats off to you.
Yes. My question is, with this pandemic, I know you had to shut down some of your businesses, your restaurants. How is that going? Have you been able to reopen any, and what's the capacity?
It was really tough initially. We have 4 restaurants over here, and the toughest part was your team becomes your family. Yes. So what we were very particular about was to make sure that everybody was taken care of. We were closed for exactly 3 weeks, and then we started takeout once a week from each concept. And then now we are open. We are at 75% capacity. We are taking each and every day as it comes. We're being very careful about everything. We are erring on the side of caution because over here it's about our team and about our guests. So, this is what the pandemic has taught us, that we as human beings are very resilient, and we are so creative, and every day we come up with creative ideas like this. I was initially saying that at a regular normal time, I might have been at the CIA doing this demo, right? So now the fact that we can do this, online is incredible. So, but thank you so much for asking. We are making the best of the situation. That's what we are doing.
I was excited because we don't live too far from the CIA. We actually go there to eat when they're open.
Oh my God.
So we're so excited. So thank you very much. And let me show you what we've made already. Do you mind?
Yes, please. I would love to see that.
Sheldon, can you see it?
You might have to take the camera down. Take the screen down.
Let's take this.
Put the dish up. Oh, that looks great.
Yep.
Look at you guys.
Yeah.
I think I'm wasting my time doing the demo over here.
No. You know what? I finally have some time to learn to cook. And my husband always did the cooking while I was working. So this is good. It's teaching me, even though I'm Indian, it's teaching me.
That's incredible. Thank you so much for showing that. That chutney looks so good. Yeah. And speaking of the chutney, let's go back and just give it a stir. The chutney looks amazing and it smells even better. The amazing part about the chutney is that I love to use it on my cheese board, right? Forget about, a fig paste or anything. Use this chutney. It is incredible. Or the other thing that I love using this chutney on is I get sourdough, put thick slices of brie on it, put this chutney on it, and I grill it and I eat it. And my mouth is watering again, like, oh God, I love food, as you guys can see. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add some ginger. Now, the easiest way to peel ginger is with a spoon. We just go ahead and peel it with a spoon. And then I'm going to just grate or microplane a little bit of this in my slaw. So right over here, I love fresh ginger. It gives such a layer of freshness to each and every dish that you make. So pretty much there. Some lime, squeeze of fresh lime. Again, it's all about freshness. It's about contrast. Because we are deep frying something, I always want to balance that off. And then finally, I'm going to take some curry leaves. Now, these are curry leaves. Curry leaves you can find at Indian stores. I have not found these yet at regular grocery stores, but if you can't find curry leaves, you can skip it. It gives it a little bit of that grassy, herbaceous flavor to it. So I'm just going to cut this really fine. And then this goes in. Put some salt right over here. And some sugar. And this slaw is ready. I mean, look at this. It's so beautiful. It is bright. It's inviting. And that's how food should be, right? It should make you happy. So now let's go ahead and make the eggplant fritter.
We had someone also asking, what type of chef's knife do you use?
This right over here is an amazing Thomas Keller uses this. This is a Kang Shan knife, which I probably am not pronouncing it properly, but this is absolutely beautiful and amazing. And over here, see, Thomas Keller's signature is right over here. How cool is that? Maybe I should, yeah. Tomato is an easier sell, right? Okay, so I have eggplant right over here. Now for the eggplant, growing up in India, the eggplant that we would use is the regular eggplant. Over time, I have realized that I prefer using the Japanese eggplant because the Japanese eggplant is a lot more creamier in the center. So when you're deep frying it, what happens is that you have this crunchy exterior with almost this creamy interior, and that just contrast of texture is incredible. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and cut it. I will be cutting this at a bias right over here. So I get nice large rounds. And not very thick and not very thin, right? You see this? What I am trying to do is I'm trying to keep a little bit of the center, the creaminess, and still have that crispiness on the exterior. So right over here.
Hey, maybe let's take another one of our questions from our guests.
Yes, let's do that.
So I see your CIA sweatshirt, and yay. And I'm wondering if you had one or two most important takeaways from your time there.
Oh my God, one or two? How much time do you have? Seriously, I could be talking for hours and hours. I think one of the most incredible things that I learned at the CIA was that each and every problem has a solution. Our chef instructors were and are so incredible that they taught us to think on our feet. And that is required, especially when you're in this industry, because this industry it changes on a daily basis. There's something new which happens on a daily basis, and you're constantly just figuring out how you're going to get through the day. The dishwasher doesn't show up. Saturday night, the rain stops working, or, it's chaos. So just the fact that we were ready on our toes all the time, I think was incredible. And the fact that I was under the same roof with 2,000 other people who were as obsessed with food as I was, I think that did such an incredible, it was an incredible feeling, that feeling of belonging. So I think these are the two things, but I promise you, I can go on and on about all the amazing things that I learned at the CIA.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Thank you. Well, talking about all the incredible things that I learned at the CIA, guys, all of you, thank you so much for joining. And if you can, I mean, it would be amazing if you could help the CIA Financial Relief Scholarship Fund. Whatever you'll be donating will be matched by Vale Fox Distillery. I mean, how amazing is that? And there will be students who would get help, would get relief. Like when I was a student, I know I could have used that help. So please open your hearts and help some students, and thank you. Okay, fantastic. So right over here, I have the eggplant. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to put some salt on this. What happens with adding salt is salt absorbs, pulls out water. So right over here, and also gives it flavor, right? So right over here.
We had a couple that also, actually, a couple of people have asked what type of tomatoes you like to use when you were cooking with that.
For the chutney, yes. I'm using regular plum tomatoes. They work just as well. I have in the past used San Marzanos, which are incredible. So if you can get it, but again, this dish is more about the spices. Pulling the vegetables through and through, or fruit in this instant through and through.
Thanks. You know, someone also asked, what is a substitute for the Kashmiri powder?
So Kashmiri powder is a slightly less bolder or a spicier version of a chili powder. It's like slightly milder. What I would suggest is you can absolutely use paprika. Even if you use like smoked paprika, that also works. It just adds another layer of smoky flavor to it. So that works very well. So right now, I'm going to go ahead and take the rice flour. The rice flour goes in here. I'm adding some turmeric. Turmeric is such a beautiful spice. Little bit of the Kashmiri chili. And if you want it spicy, you can add some more. And then we're going to go ahead and start frying it. As simple as that. Okay, so now we go ahead. Let's, chutney is coming together beautifully. I take the eggplant and in it goes. And the beautiful, like the turmeric gives it that gorgeous golden hue. Just look at how gorgeous it's looking. In it goes. Now, the fun part is that if you guys don't want to use eggplant, you can use other ingredients. Cauliflower works very, very well. You just have to fry it for a little bit longer. Potatoes, oh my God, when I was a kid, a potato bhaja was one of my favorite things to eat.
Hey, Maneet, someone also wanted to know if curry leaves could be blanched and frozen to use at a later date.
I wouldn't recommend blanching the curry leaves. Just go ahead and freeze it just the way it is. You get it fresh, wrap it up in some plastic wrap and throw it in the refrigerator, in the freezer. But don't blanch it because you're losing all of the flavors when you're blanching it. Okay, so this is frying right over here. I'll put all of these back and then we'll start getting our plates together and we'll start plating and then I'll start eating. So yes, guys, if you have questions, keep them coming my way. As you can see, after cooking, talking is my favorite hobby. So would love to have a conversation.
Wonderful. And we've got another one question that live question will bring up here.
Awesome.
Jennifer Rolander.
Hi, Jennifer.
Hang on, I'm getting my video up. There I am.
Yes, there you are.
Hi, Maneet.
Hi, how are you doing?
I'm good. I'm representing today.
So am I.
Yay, we love it.
So in love with it.
Yes. First, just let me say all the best wishes to you and your restaurant family. I'm in the food service industry too, and I know how difficult it's been. So glad to see that you're at least 75% up and running. Here in California, we're not yet. So I'm glad you are.
We'll reach there soon.
That's right. So what my question was, is all of us, of course, have been at home a lot during all this. And so what I wanted to know is, have you been playing with any specific flavors or foods that you've been experimenting with? And did any of those translate into a possible new concept or cookbook? Just want to see what Maneet's doing next.
I have been experimenting with anything and everything, like a lot of Middle Eastern food, a lot of Middle Eastern breads, stuffed breads, which have been absolutely incredible. What we have started doing is, us as a group at Morph, a lot of people were doing this. They were just going ahead and coming up, cooking at home, coming up with ideas. So all of us, we got together and we are doing pop-ups with whatever we've been trying once a month. One concept per month. So we just finished doing quesabria, which was incredible, and nobody's doing that in Nashville. And then the next we are going to do is cubanos, and then maybe next we're going to do is bunny chows. So given the circumstances, we decided we are going to have fun with wherever we find ourselves.
That is fabulous. I love that. I'm glad to hear that.
Thank you.
Good to see you. Thank you.
Nice meeting you. Thank you. Okay. Aha. Look at how beautiful this is looking.
Maneet, what temp did you fry your eggplant at there? Someone asked.
350 and I forgot to mention an important thing. I am frying this in mustard oil. So with mustard oil, this bhaja or this fritter takes up the flavor of mustard oil, because mustard oil has this really sharp flavor to it. And this dish is from Eastern India, from Bengal, where a lot of mustard oil is used. So that is what this is being fried in.
Great. And also, someone said if you didn't have eggplant, could you substitute zucchini?
Absolutely. You can substitute zucchini, you can substitute squash, you can substitute okra, right? And I mean, the one thing which people don't like about okra is the sliminess of it. This way just makes sure that all the sliminess disappears. So it is absolutely fantastic and perfect.
Well, that fits right into Southern food too here.
I'm right here in Nashville, y'all. See, I'm getting the accent. I can't do tomatoes, but I can basically do y'all.
You do it well.
Okay, so this is almost done. So right here, I have my chutney good to go. Just the smell is so amazing. And you know what? If you get the panch puran spice blend, it is so versatile. I have used it in fried rice also. So I just cook some rice and I saute the rice in this mixture, a little less of it, and you get this amazing tomato rice, which is fantastic. So right over here, I'm going to put some of the slaw at the bottom.
I'll ask a quick question too. Someone asked about whether or not, if you didn't want to fry the eggplant in oil, could you use an air fryer? Although I know you missed the mustard oil, but.
So you can absolutely go ahead and put it in the air fryer. In the air fryer, before you're putting it in, you do go ahead and spray a little bit of oil. So just spray a little bit of the mustard oil on it. In case you can't find mustard oil, the other substitute is just using mustard powder. So when you are putting the turmeric and the red chili in along with the rice flour, just put a touch of mustard powder and that works very well. So that is also absolutely fantastic. So I have this over here.
And we've got another live question while you're checking.
Awesome. Yes, let's do it.
That's Carol P. Let's bring Carol up.
Just press the unmute yourself.
Okay, how about now?
Yes, I can hear you. Hi,
Since the COVID started, we have not been to Nashville, but we spent a lot of time in Nashville over the last few years, going every couple of weeks because my husband consults for a company there. And we've been to your restaurant a number of times.
All three of them. We
Yes.
love them.
Oh my God, that means a lot to me. Thank you.
So it's not a question. It's just a little bit of a cheerleading to say, keep going. And it's fascinating to watch you work and actually do it. I think this is splendid.
Really great.
Oh my God, that means the world to me. Thank you. I mean, it is, it is people who have faith in you that keep you going. And I really appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Well, we look forward to seeing you again.
I look forward to seeing you back at the restaurants.
We'll be there.
I look forward to it. Bye.
Bye.
So, look at this. How gorgeous does this look? Now, another really cool ingredient that you can use to fry would be lotus roots. Lotus root also, like when you're frying it, has this gorgeous, it looks so beautiful and works beautifully. So you can use that too. So right over here, now what I'm going to do is, you can finish this with salt, or you can finish it with chaat masala. Chaat masala to me is the essential finishing salt in each and every Indian kitchen. It is a blend of spices with predominantly dried mango, raw mango powder in it. So it has that wonderful tart flavor to it. So right over here, we have our bhaja ready. Oh, so good. I guess dinner is served. Or I don't know if it's going to still, if it's going to remain till the time the kids are here.
Oh, someone asked, can you store the chutney in the refrigerator and for about how long?
So this chutney you can store in the refrigerator. You can store it for at least 2 weeks because it does have the sugar in it, which is preserving, and the vinegar in it, which is preserving. So that works absolutely perfectly. And this is a chutney that I have in my refrigerator all the time. So yeah, this is ready. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to take one for the team, right? I'll take a little bit of the chutney over here. I'm going to put some of the slaw on top of it. Here, just look at this.
That looks
How
delicious.
awesome is this?
Oh,
Steve, I wish you were here. I wanted you to try this.
Oh.
Oh my God. I mean, even if I say so, it's a good thing I'm a big fan of my own food, but this is amazing.
Oh, I bet. So yes, to all of our participants out there, you've got to get to Nashville. You've got to get to Maneet's restaurants there. Please.
Absolutely. Oh my God. Yes. So this is it.
Curious if anybody out there in the chat, if you'd let us know, has anybody else been cooking along with us? If you have, let us know in the chat and we'll see if we can bring you in and so we can see your dishes that you've cooked. So we'll see.
Yes, I would love to see what you guys have been cooking.
We'll see if anybody has done it yet. We're waiting for them.
That is awesome. So while we are waiting, Steve, could I ask you a question?
Yes, please.
What is the secret of looking exactly how you looked when I was in college? I mean,
I guess good genes. I know. Can you believe it's been 20 years?
I can't. And I'm like, how do you look exactly the same? Like you frozen in time, which is fantastic. It's really not that tough. I think because a lot of people have not grown up with these flavors, people get intimidated, but actually it's really, really simple. You can make impactful, powerful dishes with just 2 or 3 spices. You don't need to have like hundreds of spices.
It looks like we've got Deborah Jones there now.
How are you? I'm enjoying your cooking very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
I like the delicious way you prepared the eggplant today.
Thank you. And it's so simple. I mean, it's just 2 or 3 ingredients and you can so easily, not only the eggplant, but you can use so many other vegetables in place of eggplant.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for your kindness.
Oh, thank you so much.
Well, I know
Bye.
Maneet,
Bye.
We so appreciate you. A huge thanks to Chef Maneet Chauhan for inviting us into your kitchen today, and for the Vale Fox Distiller for making it possible for free of charge. There you go, exactly, Maneet. And I'll cheers to you as well there. So
cheers, cheers, yes.
But we too thank you so much for being our first chef in our alumni Around the Kitchen Table series today, and sharing your knowledge with everyone. We so appreciate it for your time today. So thank you so much.
Thank you. I had so much fun. And thank you all for joining. This is an amazing cause. And I hope all of you see all the chefs cooking. Some incredible chefs coming up.
Well, wonderful. Well, our goal, along with the series, is to be able to provide more scholarships for our students to help them pursue their culinary dreams. So if you would like to make a donation, we'll still be accepting donations. You can go to ciachef.edu/give. And I also want to give a big shout out to our team from Topeka Live for providing the platform that we've brought this series today. So a big shout out to them. We appreciate them. And if you've enjoyed Chef Maneet's cooking, join us for our other Around the Kitchen Table Live events. We've got Johnny Hernandez next week on October 25th, Chef JJ Johnson on November 1st, and Chefs Katiana Hong and her husband John on November 8th. So, and in addition to professional culinary education, many of you may not know that CIA offers 2 to 5 day boot camps and 1-day classes for our food enthusiasts through our CIA foodies at our CIA campuses in Hyde Park, New York, St. Helena, California, San Antonio, as well as our CIA at Copia in downtown Napa. And just to let you all know, so we're currently operating closed campuses to protect the health and safety of our students, our faculty and staff, but you can stay up to date with the latest reopening information and our virtual programming by visiting www.ciafoodies.com and signing up for our newsletter. So thank you all again for today, for joining us. We so appreciate it and hope you can join us for our future series the next 3 weeks coming up. Maneet, thank you so much. Tom, thank you as well. What a wonderful afternoon way to spend a Sunday.
Thank you so much.
You all have a great day. Thank you all.